Relax and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Head to woodwardsports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward sports gear. Woodwardsports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at woodwardsports.com.
Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Do yourself a favor, scan that QR code on screen, use code word Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, but all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet, and if it doesn't hit, they will throw it right back into your account with no questions asked. If you bet on the Thunder last night, guess what? That 20 is right back into your account to double down on it today. Scan that QR code on screen, use code word Woodward1000, and make some money tonight.
Make some money. So wake up, Woodward. We appreciate you, chat family, for being here with us this morning. It's been a lot of good conversation. The chat has been live as well. They've been making their opinions known. Their feelings are definitely well on display. And I don't disagree with some of the opinions. And I actually, some of the ones that I disagree with, you know what? I can see at least where some people are coming from. I know Steve O'Baby is one of those guys that you don't see eye to eye with, but I can at least understand the concern with the coordinators being different this year.
Sure. Yeah, no, there's we all have them winning less games. We all do. It's not 100% guaranteed to be seamless. We just all get off the highway at 9-8.
Yeah.
That's a disaster. That's like the Hindenburg of this season, for real. Like, if they don't make the playoffs, if they go 9-8, so many things other than just more things than just a difficult schedule and some coordinator issues. A lot would have to go wrong for that to happen.
21 players to the IR last year, and they didn't win just 9 games. I don't know. But voice of reason, JB Smooth, your comments on the matter as well as any other super chats, because I know that if there's anything, you're going to know which way is up, man.
No, I just think Bleacher Report is just kind of trolling us right now, especially with the whole 9-8 thing. They're just trying to get clicks. But as Sam said as well, too, like, if they somehow fumble this and you know what, the Lions get 12 wins, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, Dan Campbell deserves to be coach of the year. And then it just erases everything that they just said about us going 9-8 at the beginning of the season. But it's fair if you want to sit here and have concerns and criticize some of the things that's going on as well, too. Maybe you don't have 100% faith in the coordinators. That's fine. That's all well. Maybe you're concerned about Aidan coming back off this injury. Will he be the same Aidan? But at the same time, it's not like this whole team just disappeared and like we just are starting fresh from scratch once again. You still have Dan Campbell there, who we all know is one hell of a coach. And I don't think he's going to sit here and just let this all just slip and fall apart once again. He knows what's at stake. He knows what this whole city wants in the Super Bowl. So it's just like, relax, chill, ignore this media hype that everyone else is just poo-pooing on us once again. He knows what needs to get done, and he knows that these players know what they have to do. And once again, shout out to everyone sending in super chats as well too. $4.99 from our guy, Mr. Nasty. Hey. He said, we won 15-2 with bums, 16-1 loading. We are coming back healthy, and we had a top 5 offense and defense before we got derailed. Shout out to him. $5 from one Mr. Rando Smalls. He said, I can see how everyone thinks the new coordinators will have us take a step back, but we could flourish in their new system, which I think is a positive thing for this team.
And we actually have another one recently. It was from Dante.
Shout out Dante.
And that's the just sent in another.
I can read those if you want, JB.
Yeah, go ahead.
Arizona has been a house of horrors for the Packers no matter who they have at the quarterback position. And right now, they have a worse one than their previous two. Jordan Love's fine, but he ain't no Rodgers or Favre. Not that it matters, but... Also, Chicago travels to San Francisco, and if you remember, they got smoked against the 49ers. I think the 49ers are a wild card team this year. They've got a pretty favorable schedule. A lot of it obviously depends on Christian McCaffrey's health. They've got Kittle, like Ayuk coming back. obviously they got Nick Bosa. Like, I think that the 49ers are going to be good, and I think that that's a game that I would probably pick the Bears to lose, quite frankly. And I don't think they're a team that can go to that kind of environment and win just yet. That's one of those that just staring us in the face on paper, they might get blown out. And Nas, here, you read that one because you do the voice better.
I got you. Shout out to our guy, Mr. Nasty. He sent in $4.99. He said, "You see a trend here, right? 3-13, 9-8, 12-5, 15-2. We're not going to just fall off."
Hey, I think it looks like our boy is picking what, 17-0 linear. No, I know what he's saying. But it has been linear in terms of regular season wins the last 4 years, ever since Campbell and Holmes have been there, and that's a great accomplishment in and of itself. It's just right now they're in the position where they really can't go up in regular season wins, and they don't need to. They just need to have more success in the playoffs, because that's what this era is ultimately going to be judged off of. And I think all of us in this room think that the Lions are going to cash one in this era, if you want to call it the Holmes-Campbell era. I mean, does anybody disagree? Everybody thinks they're going to cash one in at some point.
Not at all.
Yeah.
They're well built. This isn't a situation where we have to hope. It's a situation where we see them going out there and doing the right things. We see it paying dividends. We see that our guys aren't even trying to be the smartest ones in the room. They're just saying, literally on stage and for everybody at all the podiums, what their plan is, what their philosophies are. They're not giving you the intimate details, but you can see everything that they promised that they would be. Everything that they promised that they would value, it's coming to fruition, and it's working despite what anybody has said their expectation is supposed to be. Season over season over season, the Lions have been a team, at least in the regular season, that has made a lot of media have to eat their words. The next evolution for this team is playoffs. It's what do you do to get to the Super Bowl? And that's why I'm glad that they, in their mindset, that they're on their own right path. That's continued to thumb their nose up at a lot of different of the, I guess, same old narratives that a lot of the teams and organizations thrive with and run with. And everybody who thinks that, don't do the fourth downs, and they thought Dan Campbell was going to slow down this past season. No, he's going to do what he wants to do because it's what he wants to do. That's what I love about this Lions team. Y'all don't control what they're going to do. We don't control what they're going to do. They got their way of life. They got their plan. They've seen it work. Now they got confidence on that. That's one of the serious issues. They have confidence within that plan working. They know that they're the big dogs, and now they see people start to chirp as if they're not. I just think that's a bad recipe for the North. I think that's a bad recipe for the teams that consider themselves upstarts like the Commanders. I believe that that's a bad recipe for the teams like the Eagles, who you're going to have to find a way to stay motivated against an even hungrier Detroit Lions team now.
Oh, yeah. Hey, they are hungry. And ultimately, when you don't get the job done in the playoffs and you feel like you were robbed in some ways, you're going to come out with the fire of 1,000 suns. And before we get to Aidan Hutchinson stuff, I want to read a couple of comments from Mr. Wheezy D313. He says that I'm sleeping on Sam Darnold. And for the record, this isn't a badge of honor, but I was actually me and you were higher on Sam Darnold Kool-Aid than I think most people were. I actually thought he was going to be good for the Vikings, and he was, except when it mattered most. But he had a good season. I think he'll be fine with the Seahawks. I just don't see them getting in. That NFC West is actually going to be very difficult, too, for the record. And and this is very on-brand Wheezy. Bubble screen. He says bubble screen McCarthy. For a second, I thought he said McCaffrey.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. Bubble screen McCarthy. That's you never know. He's a rookie, and he also says I can feel it in my bones. Marvin Harrison about to get 1,310 touchdowns. I agree 100%. I think this idea, to paraphrase Nick Wright, the idea that Marvin Harrison Jr. had this terrible rookie season, I think, is way overblown. He is going to bust out. But nobody cares about the Arizona Cardinals. We care more about Kelvin Sheppard and Aidan Hutchinson. So, JB, if you want to play that video of Kelvin Sheppard's comments, we'll react to them. Very interesting.
Yep.
There's not a more resilient, mentally tough guy to that type of injury during that type of season that he was on course of having could have happened to. I mean, he's out there. He's the most energetic guy on the field. He's ready to make the call out the huddle today. I went over there individual, and I said, Hutch, you know how I know you back? He's like, how? I said, because you touching that ground when you run that hoop. He said, and that's this little thing he does, like he's some supernatural cat, which he is. But I'm like, that's how I know you back, big dog. He said, I got you, DC. I was like, but no, the relationship me and Hutch have is unbelievable. The relationship he has with his peers, with his teammates, you would not know he's the caliber player he is by the way he carries himself. Like the way he works, his attention to detail in meetings, the way he helps people, the way he wants to be pushed and coached hard. Like, you start to get to a certain level and people think those guys at that top echelon and tier of the league, they're tapped out potentially. It's all over. Most of those guys is really special. They never have that thought in their mind. They want to be coached hard and they want to be pushed.
Yo, that fires me up right there because it just confirms more of what we know. More of what we know and more of what the league is about to find out. Continue to doubt. Continue to act like there's not some serious real dogs over here. And you're going to get punched in your mouth and be asking, who did that? And when you find out, you're going to be trying to tattletale on us. It's going to be too late by that point in time. Because I love the analogy that Dan Campbell uses when he says, we're gonna drag you out to the deep, dark abyss. Like, I absolutely love that analogy because that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to be winding up, I guess, sneaking up on teams this year. It's at least from a national narrative standpoint. And when you look at just how Aidan Hutchinson kind of emblemizes that, I love it, man. I think that he's going to be surprising people. And I see Mitten Made in the chat. He says, KG is spitting.
Hey, he absolutely is. And I absolutely love this. And I'll just say it. A lot of people aren't surprised. People will probably accuse me of picking a couple other players that aren't in this city. Love them too, but Aidan Hutchinson is my favorite athlete. He is.
Oh.
I don't think anybody's really surprised by that. He's my favorite Wolverine of all time. He's honestly already my favorite Lion of all time. I wasn't around for a Barry's prime. I'm a big Kelvin guy, obviously. I wasn't around for Barry's career, really, or I was a kid. I love Kelvin.
You see Willie's face over there in the sound booth, right?
No, but Aidan Hutchinson is my favorite Lion and favorite Wolverine. He's like my guy, if that makes sense. And one of the reasons why, and I think this will really help him in terms of getting back, being strong, being mentally strong, because taking that first hit after having such a fluky injury is going to be tough on anybody, even warriors like Aidan Hutchinson. I just think that he epitomizes more than any athlete that I've ever seen. And don't get me wrong, I am biased because he is my favorite athlete. I think a lot of Lions players have this mentality. I think most of them have this mentality, but there is no athlete, I think, I'll just say there's no NFL football player playing right now that more epitomizes ball is life than Aidan Hutchinson. The man just lives, breathes, sleeps, eats football. And I think being out tore him apart. I know that we've seen podcasts of him, the one with Taylor Lautner and his wife, in which he kind of let us in a little bit, and it was actually pretty heartbreaking to watch for me as a fan, and I think a lot of Lions fans. He was pretty stoic about it, but I know last year just ate him up inside, and I know that he feels that if he were on the field, maybe the Commanders game goes a little bit differently. I know he feels that way. Whether it would or wouldn't, we never know, but I personally think it would have gone a little bit differently, but that's neither here nor there. I love this from Aidan Hutchinson. That's why, even though I've had some, I want to make a distinction. I've had some concerns about pass rush outside of Aidan Hutchinson, but I don't have any concerns about Aidan Hutchinson coming back and at the very least being a dominant game-breaking player. I'm not calling for 18 sacks. I'm not calling for 20. I'm not pounding the table for Defensive Player of the Year, but he is going to be one of the most impactful defensive players in all of the NFL, and I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. Aidan Hutchinson is a player that excites us for many different reasons. Obviously, the captain, kind of figure of this defense, and somebody that we saw as a homegrown kid who earned the right to be drafted as high as he is, who earned the right to be viewed as the type of player he is. And now you see that same type of fight that we saw going on every Sunday for the Detroit Lions, being put into getting back to the Lions so that he can continue this journey of winning a Super Bowl for his hometown team. The story, it couldn't be better right now for Aidan Hutchinson, and that's where I know there's some people who had some things to say about how his running was going. I continue to just listen to the Lions. I continue to listen to people closest to him, and the word is he's going to be good to go when the season is here. Whether there is some, growing pains or some things to effectively get right as you're getting back into game shape, you know what? I'm all for that. It takes teams usually a few weeks to get going, and I do believe this. The improvements in the secondary, if they're healthy, the way the defensive line is right now, and you look at the experience now, you can say this experience amongst those linebackers. This is going to be a team that's going to be able to better support Aidan Hutchinson this year, even despite the fact that they haven't gone out there and splashed out on that, or even gone and gotten the Zadarius Smith aspect of a pass rush. I do share in your concern in terms of wanting them to go out there and do something else with the edge, but I do trust Brad Holmes. That concern does come with this caveat. I do believe that's currently constructed that the Lions have enough to be able to get there. But if you go and you add that help opposite of Hutchinson, I believe you're giving yourselves a lot more than just a chance, but more to be a player in this thing, a big player.
And that's, to me, and we'll talk about this more, maybe probably the last piece to this Lions team to have me even more confident. But as I've said before, I'm not rooting for Davenport to fail. I'm not rooting for Pascal to fail. I'm not rooting for Al-Qadim Muhammad to fail. I am not going to rule out that maybe they do have enough. I strongly disagree, but Marcus Davenport has at least he's had some really good moments. He has. Al-Qadim Muhammad was very good for them last year, and Josh Pascal is solid, although not much of a pass rush threat in my opinion. But I want to ask something to Mr. William Baker. Why the face when I said,
You saw the face.
Why the face when I said Aidan Hutchinson's my favorite Lion? I mean, that's not crazy. Like, I'm a little younger than you, man.
Oh yes, you're right. You gave the age, but a better athlete than Calvin Johnson. But you was right on the Barry Sanders part, because you wasn't.
I was a kid.
You was a kid. I grew up with Barry Sanders. And I grew up Herman Moore. And you got a Calvin Johnson over Calvin Johnson.
Yeah.
Calvin Johnson was kind of another level Megatron, man. But Aidan is coming along. He's coming along. You got a good. You retire in your opinion, and rightfully so. But I was like, I was like, over Barry and Calvin Johnson.
And for the record, Willie, it's my favorite.
Your favorite.
I'm a Calvin stan. I mean, I'm even upset, and not upset, when Braylon Edwards, shout out Braylon Edwards, he's forgotten more about wide receiver play than I have. When he left Calvin off of his Mount Rushmore, I was like, what the? And there's a lot of good ones to choose from, but I personally think Calvin Johnson is the most talented ever, and I would probably put him above Larry Fitzgerald. Although with Fitz, you can argue, like, he was such a great playoff performer. I get it, but I'm a Calvin stan, so no disrespect to Calvin. It's just Aidan's got the Michigan connection, and he's been great since he's entered the league. I mean, I think that he was an injury away from winning Defensive Player of the Year. I can't prove it, but I think there's a lot of evidence that he was going to continue on a pretty torrid pace. And one of my pieces of evidence is that you got to play the Bears twice. Caleb Williams was the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. I really, truly believe, and I think that I can go off of trends, that if Aidan Hutchinson would have got 2 games against the Bears, he would have came away with at least 3 sacks. That's neither here nor there. I don't have any worries about Aidan coming back from injury and being and having it slow him down in a real way. Take a couple of those first hits, get back into the flow of the game. Aidan Hutchinson will be in heaven out there, and I think we're going to enjoy watching him.
For a guy with 9 sacks in such short games, that your favorite athlete? Okay, I respect that on that one.
Hey, somebody who also, carries a lot of that fired up energy, that dude, Justin. Talking about Aidan Hutchinson in this return. And I like the way that the conversation is always going to focus as well on the defensive line. And I see there's Ed O'Neill in the chat. He says, healthy is the Lions defensive line good enough to compete with the Eagles offensive line? And Justin, I direct that at you, man, to start it.
Yeah, I think that the Aidan Hutchinson sack train was just getting started in the 2024 season before he got hurt, which was so unfortunate. But you see the videos, you see the way he's coming back, and you know that he's a warrior, and that's where I mean, he always talks about it. It's with the the Eagle sack guys. Like, they lost Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham. They're losing all these prominent sack